The massive human warship Retribution emerges from hyperspace at the edge of galactic hegemony territory. Its hull scarred from previous battles, yet gleaming with technology the alien sensors can't fully comprehend. Admiral Helena Chen stands on the bridge, her expression grim as she reviews the last transmissions from 3 colony ships that vanished in this sector. The Hegemony Defense Fleet responds with standard first contact protocols, a combination of communication attempts and defensive positioning that their 7-species coalition has perfected over millennia. But to humans who evolved constantly watching for predators and enemies, the alien ship's movement pattern appears unmistakably as battle formation. They're positioning for a firing solution. Chen's tactical officer warns, highlighting hostile targeting suites penetrating their hull. Chen orders a tactical retreat but allows the aliens a brief sensor scan, a calculated move that will later prove pivotal. As the Retribution vanishes back into hyperspace, the Hegemony commanders stare in disbelief at their sensor readings, which show weapon systems far beyond what should be possible for a species that only achieved spaceflight 3 centuries ago. Anomalous readings confirmed. High Commander. The sensor officer chirps, multiple eyes blinking in rapid succession as data streams across holographic displays. Their power signature exceeds anything in our database for a vessel of that classification. High Commander Vorlak rises from his command throne, 6-fingered hands clasped behind his back as he studies the spatial void where the human ship vanished. His gray skin flushes purple with concern. 3 standard cycles hunting the mysterious ship that appeared at the edge of hegemony space, and their first real encounter lasts merely minutes. Analysis of their retreat trajectory, he demands. Inconclusive, High Commander. Their hyperspace signature dissipated too quickly for tracking. Our models suggest they could reach any of 17 key systems within the cycle. Vorlak's inner eyelids flicker, a sign of deep thought among his species. The question remains, why are they here? And how did they penetrate our outer sensor grid undetected? Across the command chamber, Science Director Neritel approaches with characteristic caution. The diminutive scientist belongs to the Viridian species, natural prey animals whose evolutionary path led to intellectual rather than physical development. High Commander, with respect, I believe I can answer part of your question, she says, her melodic voice barely audible over the ship's ambient hum. The human vessel's design incorporates radiation-absorbing materials, similar to those found in deep space predator species from the Cygnus sector. They didn't evade our sensors. They absorbed the detection pulses. Impossible. Vorlak dismisses. No technological species develops biological mimicry as their first defense strategy. It contradicts all established evolutionary models. Neritel's fur ripples, her species equivalent of a shrug. Perhaps our models are incomplete when it comes to humans. Meanwhile, aboard the Retribution, Admiral Chen calls her command staff to the tactical room. Holographic projections of the alien vessels rotate above the central table as officers file in, faces tense with the knowledge that humanity's first official contact with galactic civilization didn't go as planned. Their communication attempts came simultaneously with weapons targeting, explains Communications Officer Aditola, his fingers dancing across the data panels. Either they're incredibly aggressive, or they consider scanning an unknown ship with weapons systems to be standard procedure. The latter suggests a species that evolved in constant danger, offers xenobiologist Dr. Catherine Rivera, which is interesting, considering their ships show minimal armor compared to ours. These beings evolved prioritizing different survival strategies than humanity. Chen nods, studying the alien fleet formation with narrowed eyes. Their movements were too coordinated for a random encounter. They were waiting for something, perhaps us specifically. Lieutenant Commander Jackson, head of intelligence, places a data crystal on the table. Admiral, we've completed analysis of their transmissions. Most was standard telemetry, but buried within the communication attempts was this. He activates the crystal, and a fractured audio file plays. Specimen collection protocols. Designated quarantine zone. Colony vessels contained. Awaiting extraction approval from Central. Asterisk. A heavy silence falls over the room as the implications sink in. They have our colonists, Chen states flatly, her calm voice betraying none of the fury building behind her eyes. And they're treating them like lab animals. She turns to her navigation officer. How soon can we reach Earth Command? 36 hours at maximum safe speed, Admiral. Chen's decision is immediate. Set the course. It seems humanity's introduction to the galactic community will require a show of force they won't soon forget. Zalvor, the hegemony's foremost xenobiologist, presents his findings to the High Command with trembling appendages. These humans evolved on what we would classify as a Class 12 death world. He explains, displaying Earth's shocking environmental extremes. They can survive radiation levels that would kill most sentient species, temperature variations that should make technological development impossible, and gravity that would crush Dalvorian bones to powder. The intelligence report reveals more disturbing facts. Humans fought thousands of wars among themselves, driving weapons development at an unprecedented pace. Most concerning is their psychological profile. Where hegemony species evolve toward stability and consensus, humans thrive on conflict and competition. Meanwhile, aboard the Retribution en route to Earth, Admiral Chen reviews intercepted hegemony communications. They're calling us Deathworlders. She tells the United Earth Defense Council during their emergency session. And based on these transmissions, they consider us too dangerous to be allowed free expansion. The fragments of data recovered during their brief encounter also contain references to specimen collection and quarantine procedures that align perfectly with the disappearance of the colony ships. The 7 members of the High Command shift uncomfortably as Salvor continues his presentation. The chamber's soft blue lighting reflects off polished surfaces designed to soothe the various species present. Today, it fails to calm anyone. Most concerning is their adaptability. Zalvor says, projecting historical images of human civilization. From primitive stone tools to rudimentary spaceflight took them merely 10,000 cycles, a developmental speed that defies our understanding. General Kravner, the militant Saurian representative, leans forward. His scaled skin catches the light as he gestures toward the human warship schematics. What of their military capabilities? Are they truly as advanced as initial scans suggest? Zalvor hesitates. Their weapons technology appears innovative. Rather than following established development paths, they've pursued multiple parallel technologies. Some are crude by our standards, others surprisingly sophisticated. They use kinetic weapons alongside energy-based systems, and their defensive capabilities suggest they expect to receive damage rather than avoid it entirely. A prey species philosophy, notes Ambassador Zixtel thoughtfully. They evolved expecting to be hurt and adapted to survive it. No, Zalvor corrects, unusual firmness in his voice. Humans are apex predators on their world. They didn't evolve to flee from danger, they evolved to overcome it. The difference is crucial. The intelligence chief, a shadowy figure known only as the Arbiter, speaks from the darkened corner. What of their colonists we've contained? Have they yielded useful information? Zalvor displays new data. The specimens have proven problematic. They refuse standard compliance procedures and have attempted escape 17 times. 2 of our researchers were injured when the humans weaponized components of their holding cells. We've had to gas their compound twice to restore order. High Commander Vorlak rises. Recommendations. Zalvor's appendages tremble again. Standard integration protocols will fail with humans. They must either be strictly contained or, prompts Vorlak. Neutralized. Zalvor finishes quietly. For the stability of the hegemony. Aboard the Retribution Admiral Chen concludes her briefing to the Earth Defense Council. The quantum communication array displays 12 grim-faced officials representing Earth's unified government. So these aliens have abducted our colonists, and their communications suggest they consider us a threat to their established order, summarizes President Okafor, her dark eyes intense despite the distance separating them. What do you recommend, Admiral? Chen gestures to Dr. Rivera, who steps forward. The hegemony appears to be a coalition of species that evolved in relatively stable environments. They value predictability and gradual development. Humanity represents chaos to their ordered universe. We advance too quickly, adapt too readily, and our history of conflict terrifies them. They fear what they don't understand, Chen adds. And based on their transmissions, they're already discussing containment strategies, possibly including forced limitation of our expansion or technological development. Defense Minister Cheng's expression hardens. Unacceptable. We won't be caged by alien bureaucrats who haven't earned the right to dictate humanity's future. Options, asks President Okafor. We could attempt diplomatic contact, offers Foreign Secretary Alvarez. Perhaps this encounter was truly a misunderstanding. Chen shakes her head. The data we intercepted suggests otherwise. They classified us before we even met, and they have our people. Then we show them exactly why Deathworlders shouldn't be underestimated, General Santos states firmly. How quickly can we mobilize the fleet? President Okafor raises her hand for silence. We'll pursue parallel approaches. Admiral Chen, you'll lead a diplomatic mission with the Retribution as your flagship. Secretary Alvarez will accompany you as chief negotiator. Meanwhile, General Santos will quietly position our fleet at strategic locations. If diplomacy fails, she leaves the implication hanging. Chen nods, understanding perfectly. And the colonists. Your primary mission remains their recovery, President Okafor answers, by any means necessary. The transmission ends, leaving Chen staring at the starfield beyond the view screen. Humanity's future among the stars would be decided in the coming days, and she had no intention of allowing an alien coalition to determine that future for them. The diplomatic meeting takes place aboard the Celestial Neutral Station, a magnificent structure of crystal and light designed to impress developing species. Dr. Elias Mbeke, Earth's brilliant xenolinguist, immediately recognizes the subtle psychological warfare in the station's design. The slightly too large furniture, the atmospheric composition adjusted to make humans slightly uncomfortable while appearing hospitable. Ambassador Zixtal speaks with the practiced smoothness of a being accustomed to dealing with inferior species. The hegemony welcomes humanity to the galactic community, the ambassador announces while neural translators handle a complex language. We offer guidance in your development and appropriate territories for your expansion. Dr. Mbeke catches the untranslated subharmonics in the ambassador's speech, tones meant only for other hegemony officials indicating that these appropriate territories are resource-poor systems no established species wants. The meeting deteriorates when Mbeke, having secretly accessed the station's data network through methods the hegemony thought impossible for primitive humans, projects evidence of hegemony ships redirecting the Earth colony vessels. Ambassador Zixtal's shocked reaction confirms their guilt before diplomatic channels abruptly close. Admiral Chen studies the soaring architecture of the Celestial Neutral Station as the human delegation's shuttle approaches. The crystalline structure captures nearby starlight and refracts it in patterns that seem random but subtly disorient non-hegemony visitors. A defensive measure disguised as art. Impressive, murmurs Dr. Mbeke beside her. The xenolinguist's eyes miss nothing, cataloging every detail. Notice how they've positioned their defense grid. Visible enough to be intimidating, hidden enough to claim plausible deniability if accused of threatening posture. Secretary Alvarez adjusts her formal diplomatic attire. Remember our objectives. First, establish communication. Second, demand information about our colonists. Third, negotiate for their immediate release. And if they refuse? Chen asks, though she already knows the answer. Alvarez meets her gaze evenly. Then you'll have your answer about hegemony intentions. Admiral. The docking procedure takes 17 minutes longer than necessary. Another subtle power play. When they finally enter the grand reception chamber, the hegemony delegation awaits them, positioned on slightly elevated platforms. 7 representatives, 1 from each founding species. Ambassador Zixtal floats forward, his translucent body pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. "Welcome to Celestial Neutral Station." The translation comes through their earpieces. "We are pleased humans have finally achieved sufficient development to join interstellar discussion." Mbik steps forward before Alvarez can reply. "Thank you for your generous welcome," he responds in perfect hegemonic standard, a language humans shouldn't know yet. The shock rippling through the alien delegation is immensely satisfying. The formal introductions proceed with measured words and hidden meanings. Chen observes how the chamber's environmental controls subtly adjust, making the humans increasingly uncomfortable while the hegemony representatives remain perfectly at ease. The gravity, too, is calibrated just slightly stronger than Earth standard, enough to fatigue humans during prolonged negotiations without being obviously hostile. "We understand your concern regarding missing colonization vessels," Zixtal eventually addresses. "We regret to inform you that rogue elements within border security may have redirected these ships due to a misunderstanding of territorial boundaries." "A misunderstanding," Alvarez repeats flatly. "And where are our people now?" "Being cared for appropriately while we arrange their return," another representative answers smoothly. "They are quite safe, I assure you." Nimbik gives Chen an almost imperceptible nod. Time for their calculated gamble. "You'll forgive us if we require more than assurances," Chen states, activating her datapad. "Especially given these." A holographic display shows hegemony military vessels intercepting the colony ships. More damning are the communication logs. Direct orders from Hegemony High Command authorizing the interception and transport to a containment facility for extended observation and assessment. Ambassador Zixtal's bioluminescence flares in patterns that the translator doesn't capture. Shock, anger, and something else. Fear. "How did you?" he begins, then composes himself. "These are fabrications." Dr. Mbik smiles slightly. "They're from your own secure database, Ambassador. Accessed 17 minutes ago, while you made us wait during docking procedures." The chamber erupts in multilingual chaos. Security personnel move toward the human delegation, but halt when Chen reveals a small device in her palm. "I wouldn't," she advises calmly. "This transmitter has been sending everything to the *retribution*. Any hostile action against us triggers automatic protocols, and my ship's weapons are currently targeted on this station's primary power core." Silence falls as Zixtal confers urgently with his colleagues. When he turns back, his translator delivers his words in clipped tones. "This meeting is concluded. Return to your vessel while we investigate these accusations." "And our colonists?" Alvarez demands. "We will address that matter through proper channels," Zixtal replies, all pretense of warmth gone. As they exit, Mbik whispers to Chen. "They never expected us to have broken their encryption. The arrogance of evolutionary superiority." "Did you get what we needed?" Chen asks quietly. Mbik pats his pocket where a data crystal holds the real prize, the location of the human colonists. "They never even realized I was in their navigation database while they focused on the communication logs." Chen allows herself a small smile as they board their shuttle. The hegemony had dismissed humans as primitive upstarts. They would soon learn the cost of underestimating Deathworlders. The quarantine planet Terminus 9 was selected for its brutal conditions: toxic atmosphere, extreme temperature fluctuations, and indigenous predators that had prevented previous colonization attempts by hegemony species. The Joint Investigation Team's ships descend through storm clouds to find something impossible: thriving human settlements. Dr. Mbik watches the hegemony representatives' stunned reactions as they tour the colony. "You expected us to die here," he states simply. Colony leader Maya Rodriguez explains how they survived. Atmospheric processors built from repurposed ship components, shelters engineered to withstand the planet's ferocious storms, and most impressively, domesticated local predators now serving as guards and hunting companions. "We've always adapted. It's what humans do," she says while leading them through hydroponics facilities growing earth crops in toxic soil. The hegemony scientists are most disturbed by the modified alien technology in the colony's research center. Humans have reverse-engineered and improved upon hegemony designs within months. The investigation team's departure is interrupted by long-range sensors detecting a hegemony battle fleet approaching. "They're not coming to rescue us," Rodriguez says grimly. "They're coming to eliminate the evidence." The shuttle breaks through Terminus 9's turbulent upper atmosphere, violent winds buffeting the craft despite its advanced stabilizers. Admiral Chen notes how the hegemony scientists grip their harnesses, their discomfort evident as lightning flashes illuminate the cabin in stark bursts. Dr. Meek appears perfectly calm, reviewing data on his tablet. "Quite the storm," he comments casually. "Reminds me of hurricane season back in Lagos." "This is your equivalent of a Class 12 environmental event?" asks Salvor, his scientific curiosity momentarily overcoming his unease. Chen exchanges a glance with Meek. "No, Doctor. On Earth, we call this slightly inclement weather." The shuttle emerges from the storm front, revealing the landscape below. Chen expected desperate survival camps, perhaps huddled remnants of the colonial expedition clinging to life. Instead, she sees organized settlements, infrastructure, and agricultural zones spreading across the valley floor. Artificial lights illuminate protective domes and interconnected habitat modules, some clearly constructed from repurposed colony ship components, others built using local materials. "Impossible," whispers one of the hegemony representatives. "The atmospheric toxicity alone should have killed us all." A new voice interrupts over the comm system. "Welcome to Terminus 9, Admiral Chen. We've been expecting you. I'm Colony Director Maya Rodriguez. You'll find landing coordinates uploaded to your navigation system." The landing pad is a marvel of improvised engineering, a composite platform created from hull plating and indigenous crystalline materials that distribute the shuttle's weight perfectly. A delegation waits as they disembark, led by a compact woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that miss nothing. Director Rodriguez offers a crisp salute to Chen before turning assessing eyes to the hegemony representatives. "I see you've brought our gracious hosts," she says, her tone making the words anything but grateful. "How thoughtful." Inside the main colony complex, the hegemony scientists struggle to hide their astonishment. The air filtration systems hum efficiently, converting Terminus 9's toxic atmosphere into breathable air. Monitors display environmental readings, resource management metrics, and security feeds showing the settlement's perimeter, where massive six-legged creatures patrol alongside human guards. "You've domesticated the apex predators?" Zalvor asks, unable to contain his scientific curiosity despite the diplomatic tension. Rodriguez strokes one of the creatures as it passes, its armored hide reflecting the artificial lighting. "The Night Stalkers took about 3 weeks. Turns out they're pack hunters with hierarchical social structures, not unlike dogs back on Earth. They're quite intelligent and respond well to consistent leadership." Chen notices how the hegemony representatives flinch when the creature turns its multifaceted eyes in their direction. The fear is palpable. "How many survived?" Chen asks quietly as they tour the hydroponics facility, where earth crops grow in carefully managed soil. "All of us," Rodriguez answers with pride. 3,417 colonists. We lost 12 in the initial landing. Life support failures in 2 modules. None since. Dr. Mabik pauses before a sealed door marked Research Division. "And this?" Rodriguez hesitates, glancing at the hegemony scientists before answering. Perhaps a private tour for the Earth delegation would be appropriate. Inside, Chen discovers why Rodriguez was cautious. The lab contains disassembled hegemony technology, communication arrays, weapons systems, and engine components, all methodically reverse-engineered, improved, and adapted to human purposes. They didn't just leave us their ship's components, Rodriguez explains quietly. They left active datapads, sensor equipment, even a few defensive weapons. They never expected us to understand their technology, let alone improve it. Most efficient education system I've ever seen, Mbik remarks dryly. Nothing motivates learning like survival. The colony's operations center buzzes with activity when they enter. A young technician approaches Rodriguez with urgency. Director, long-range sensors have detected multiple ships entering the system. Hegemony signatures. Heavy cruiser configuration. The room falls silent as the tactical display shows 12 warships approaching Terminus 9. Their weapon systems are active. Rodriguez turns to the Hegemony representatives, her expression cold. Friends of yours, or did you not expect an audience when you came to clean up your mistake? Zalvor steps back, genuine confusion on his face. This isn't. We weren't informed. Chen's communicator chirps. The *retribution* has detected the incoming fleet as well. She meets Rodriguez's gaze. Time to show them exactly what humans are capable of, Director. Rodriguez nods grimly. We've been preparing for this day since they abandoned us here. They thought this planet would be our grave. Instead, it became our fortress. The Hegemony battle fleet surrounds Terminus 9, their commander broadcasting ultimatums demanding the human colonists surrender for proper relocation. 3 hours into the standoff, sensors detect a single ship exiting hyperspace. The Hegemony command staff laugh at what appears to be a suicide mission, until all communication systems across their fleet broadcast the same message. Warning to all Hegemony vessels. Human warship approaching. Battle stations activated. You have committed acts of war against Earth and her colonies. Surrender or be destroyed. The *retribution* moves unlike any ship the Hegemony has encountered, executing maneuvers that should tear its structure apart. When the first Hegemony cruiser fires, the human warship's hull absorbs the energy blast through a crystalline lattice structure. Technology stolen from the Exorelians, but modified beyond recognition. What follows stuns the alien fleet. The *retribution* deploys autonomous combat drones that the Hegemony sensors can't track effectively, while its main cannons target the enemy ship's previously unknown structural weaknesses. Admiral Chen fights with Earth's ancient naval warfare tactics adapted for three-dimensional space, concepts no cosmic civilization ever needed to develop. The *retribution* suffers critical damage, but achieves the impossible, forcing the surrender of a fleet 10 times its size. High Commander Dravkor stands on the bridge of the Hegemony command vessel Inevitable Dominance, his scaled hide flushed with the dark purple of anticipation. The 12 warships under his command have established optimal firing positions around the quarantine planet. Open communication channels, he orders. His voice carries the gravelly undertone of the Morgoth species, evolved predators who joined the Hegemony only after being decisively defeated generations ago. The primitives have established rudimentary defenses, his tactical officer reports. Ground-based energy weapons and some form of atmospheric interference shield. Dravkor dismisses these with a contemptuous gesture, irrelevant. Begin the standard surrender protocol. His ultimatum broadcasts to the colony below, human settlement. This is High Commander Dravkor of the Hegemony Security Fleet. Your presence on Terminus 9 violates quarantine protocols. Prepare for immediate evacuation and processing. The response comes not in words but in action. The colony's energy shield strengthens, and weapons emplacements swivel toward his fleet. Defiance. Dravkor notes with something approaching respect. Commendable but futile. Prepare primary weapons. Target their power generation facilities first. Commander. The sensor officer interrupts, voice rising in pitch. Hyperspace rupture detected at system edge. Dravkor turns as the tactical display shows a single vessel emerging from hyperspace. Recognition sends a chill through his body. the Retribution *. A single ship. His executive officer laughs. Against our fleet. The humans must be desperate. Dravkor is not so confident. Reports of the ship's first encounter with hegemony forces left many questions unanswered. Maintain battle positions. Monitor closely. Without warning, every communication system across the fleet, personal channels, command frequencies, even emergency backups, broadcast simultaneously. Warning to all hegemony vessels. Human warship approaching. Battle stations activated. You have committed acts of war against Earth and her colonies. Surrender or be destroyed. The bridge falls silent as the Retribution * accelerates toward them, far faster than a vessel of its size should move. Impossible, whispers the navigation officer. Their engines would tear apart at that velocity. Target that ship. Dravkor orders, unease growing. All vessels, concentrated fire. The lead cruiser fires first, a powerful energy beam designed to cripple enemy propulsion systems. It strikes the Retribution * directly. Rather than penetrating, the energy disperses across the hull in a crystalline pattern before being absorbed entirely. Sorelian defense technology, gasps the science officer. But modified. Strengthened somehow. Before Dravkor can respond, the Retribution * launches what appear to be missiles. Hundreds of them, spreading in patterns that confuse tracking systems. Not missiles, the tactical officer reports with growing panic. Drones. Autonomous combat units. The drones slip through defensive fire, attaching themselves to hegemony vessels at seemingly random points. Explosions follow. Not random, but precisely targeted at structural junctions that shouldn't be in any database accessible to humans. They know our weaknesses. Dravkor realizes too late. All ships, evasive maneuvers. Aboard the Retribution, Admiral Chen stands calmly at the tactical console as Lieutenant Commander Jackson implements her battle plan. Nelson's strategy at Trafalgar, she explains to the colony representatives watching via secure link. Breaking the line to isolate and defeat portions of a superior force. Adapted for three-dimensional space, of course. The Retribution plunges directly into the hegemony formation, splitting their carefully arranged positions and disrupting their coordinated firing solutions. The ship takes hits, shields flaring, hull plating buckling in sections, but the damage is calculated, acceptable. Targeting analysis complete, reports Weapons Officer Liu. Firing solution for command vessel acquired. Chen nods. Execute. The Retribution's main cannons fire. Not energy weapons as the hegemony expects, but advanced rail guns launching projectiles at significant fractions of light speed. The kinetic impact overwhelms the command vessel's shields, penetrating directly to the bridge. Systems fail across Dravkor's ship. Emergency lighting bathes the bridge in red as damage reports flood in. 3 ships disabled, reports his surviving tactical officer. 4 more reporting critical damage. The humans are targeting command and control systems specifically. A final message broadcasts across the hegemony fleet. Your vessels are crippled. Your formation is broken. Surrender now and receive quarter. Resist and be destroyed entirely. You have 2 minutes to decide. Dravkor stares at the tactical display in disbelief. 1 ship, a single human vessel, has devastated his fleet using technologies and tactics the hegemony never anticipated. The implications are terrifying. Signal our surrender, he orders, voice hollow with defeat. All vessels, stand down weapons. As the hegemony fleet powers down their systems, the Retribution takes up position above the human colony. Despite battle damage that would cripple most ships, it maintains an imposing presence, a guardian over reclaimed territory. First victory secured, Chen reports to Earth Command. But this is only the beginning of a much larger war. The hegemony Grand Council chamber erupts in chaos as footage of the battle spreads across the galaxy. One ship defeated a purification fleet. roars Counselor Dravkor of the warrior Morgeth species, his scales flushing with rage and reluctant admiration. The hegemony fractures along philosophical lines. The preservers who believe humanity must be eliminated before they spread further, and the integrationists who recognize the potential value of human innovation. Meanwhile, Earth's orbital shipyards work at unprecedented capacity, revealing that the Retribution was merely one of hundreds of warships humanity had built since reaching the stars, hiding their military capabilities behind a facade of peaceful exploration. Admiral Chen meets secretly with Ambassador Zixtal, who has broken with the Preserver faction. "My species evolved in peaceful oceans with no natural predators," the ambassador explains. "We cannot comprehend how your minds work, but we recognize your right to exist." The ambassador provides crucial intelligence. The Preserver faction has authorized a planet-killer weapon to be deployed against Earth within 14 days. Dr. Make coordinates with sympathetic hegemony scientists to develop a plan that will require both human ingenuity and alien technology to succeed. The Grand Council's chamber on Hegemony Prime reflects the aesthetic sensibilities of all 7 founding species: soaring crystalline arches for the luminary, dense vegetation sections for the Chlorans, gravity-manipulated hovering platforms for the Aryans, and reinforced seating for the heavy-set Morgeths. Today, the architectural harmony stands in stark contrast to the discord among the representatives. The humans not only survived Terminus 9, they thrived there. First Speaker Vosran summarizes for the assembled council, and now their warship has defeated an entire battle group. Counselor Dravkor slams his armored fist against the speaking podium, cracking its surface. High Commander Tralkor's fleet was among our most experienced. 12 vessels against 1. Yet they were outmaneuvered, outfought, and forced to surrender. Murmurs spread through the chamber as the assembled leaders processed the implications. The preservers, led by Elder Kun of the ancient Sylvani, rise as one. The conclusion is obvious. Elder Kun states, her wispy form seeming to float above her platform. The humans represent an existential threat to the established order. They adapt too quickly, fight too effectively, and spread too aggressively. We must act decisively before they expand further. Ambassador Zixtal moves to the center of the chamber, his bioluminescent patterns shifting to indicate formal disagreement. The humans defended their colonists after we abducted them. They responded to aggression with proportional force, then accepted surrender rather than destroying disabled vessels. These are not the actions of mindless destroyers. You would have us wait until they overrun our territories, challenges Kun. Study their history. Whenever humans encounter a less developed culture, assimilation or destruction follows. Like we did with the Brakari. Zixtal counters, referencing a species the hegemony had forcibly uplifted generations ago. Perhaps we fear in humans what we recognize in ourselves. The debate rages for hours before First Speaker Vosran calls for a formal vote. The result sends shockwaves through the chamber. 26 worlds side with the preservers, 24 with the integrationists. The margin is uncomfortably narrow. The preservation doctrine is approved. Vosran announces solemnly, strategic containment of humanity will commence immediately. In a secure chamber deep beneath the council halls, Elder Kun meets with select military leaders. Containment is merely the public face of our response, she explains. Project Sundering is authorized. Ready the planet killer for deployment to the Earth system within 14 days. Later that cycle, Ambassador Zixtal slips away from his security detail, moving through the shadowed undercity of the capital. In a dilapidated structure far from government censors, he meets Admiral Chen and Dr. Make. You took an enormous risk coming here, Zixtal says, his translucent form pulsing with stress patterns. No more than you did contacting us, Chen replies. Your message mentioned a critical threat. Explain. Zixtal's colors dim to indicate grave concern. The council vote was merely theater. The preservers have activated Project Sundering, a weapon capable of destabilizing a planet's core. They intend to deploy it against Earth within 14 days. Mbik leans forward. Why are you telling us this? You're betraying your people. Am I? Zixtal's colors shift to a pattern humans can't interpret. My species evolved in peaceful oceans with no natural predators. We joined the hegemony because we believed in cooperative advancement. What the Preservers plan is genocide. It violates everything the hegemony once stood for. Chen's expression remains impassive. How do we stop this weapon? You can't, not directly. Its location is unknown even to me. Zixtal extends a data crystal. But these are the technical specifications, security protocols, and transport schedules. With this information, you might have a chance. Why not simply warn us and let us evacuate Earth? Chen asks, studying the alien carefully. Because evacuation wouldn't save humanity, Zixtal replies. Once Earth falls, the Preservers would hunt down every human settlement, every outpost. This isn't about one planet. It's about whether your species has the right to exist freely. After Zixtal departs, Mbik examines the data crystal. If this information is accurate, we may have a chance, but we'll need help, even from within the hegemony itself. Chen nods grimly. Then we'll find allies where we can. The hegemony is about to discover that threatening humanity's homeworld was their most catastrophic miscalculation yet. Rather than fortifying Earth as the Preservers expect, the human fleet vanishes completely, causing confusion and paranoia throughout hegemony space. The Preservers accelerate their planet-killer deployment, unaware they've fallen into a trap decades in the making. Admiral Chen reveals humanity's greatest secret. Earth's scientists had discovered the hegemony's monitoring probes in the Sol system over a century ago and had been feeding them carefully crafted misinformation ever since. The human fleet re-emerges simultaneously at 12 critical hegemony installations using jump coordinates provided by the integrationist faction. The battles that follow demonstrate warfare concepts shocking to the hegemony. Humans sacrifice valuable ships as diversions, execute high-risk maneuvers with minimal survival probability, and deploy experimental weapons that endanger their own forces. Most alien species evolved to preserve their limited numbers. Humans evolved understanding that victory sometimes requires sacrifice. The operation culminates at the Preserver faction's headquarters, where Dr. Mbik activates the mysterious Babel Protocol, a complex information warfare package that bypasses all hegemony security to broadcast the complete, unaltered records of human hegemony interactions to every corner of the galaxy, allowing all species to judge for themselves. Confirmed, Admiral. The last battle group has completed its withdrawal from the Sol system, reports Strategic Command Officer Rivera, from the newly established war room deep beneath the lunar surface. All civilian evacuation transports are underway. To any hegemony observation, Earth appears virtually undefended. Admiral Chen studies the holographic display showing fleet deployments throughout nearby space. What appears chaotic actually follows a carefully orchestrated plan. Human vessels seemingly scattered but positioned for rapid convergence at key points. President Okafor addresses the assembled military leadership. Operation Unexpected Virtue is now active. Admiral Chen has full tactical authority. May your actions preserve humanity and uphold our principles. As the President departs, Chen turns to her assembled commanders. The Preservers expect us to concentrate our forces at Earth. Instead, we'll strike at the heart of their operation. She activates a secure communication channel. Dr. Mbik, are your teams ready? From a distant station near hegemony space, Mbik's image appears. Ready, Admiral. Our integrationist allies have provided final confirmation of all 12 target coordinates. The Babel Protocol is prepared for deployment. And our special advantage? Chen asks. Mbik smiles slightly. Perhaps it's time to reveal humanity's longest-kept secret. 3 days later, Hegemony High Command receives urgent communications from multiple sectors simultaneously. High Commander Selvak stares in disbelief at the tactical display, showing human warships appearing at 12 critical installations across hegemony space. Impossible. Their fleet was withdrawing to Earth. The humans have deployed previously unknown vessels, reports his tactical officer. These ships match known configurations in our database. How did they know the precise locations of our most secure facilities? Demands Elder Kun, her ethereal form pulsing with agitation. Admiral Chen's face appears on communication channels across the hegemony network, a deliberate breach of their supposedly impenetrable security. Perhaps I can answer that question, Elder Kun. Earth detected your monitoring probes in our system 103 years ago, decades before we officially achieved spaceflight. Stunned silence falls across the command center. Instead of destroying them, Chen continues, we decided they were more valuable intact, but fed carefully selected information. Everything you think you know about human military capability has been precisely what we wanted you to know. Across hegemony space, battles unfold unlike any the aliens have witnessed. Human vessels execute maneuvers that hegemony tacticians classify as suicidal, yet achieve devastatingly effective results. Ships deliberately take damage to create openings for others. Commanders sacrifice valuable assets to secure strategic advantages. The humans fight with a creative ferocity that bewilders their opponents. At the Cygnus Prime facility housing the Planet Killer Weapons Control Systems, Dr. Midik leads a special operations team through corridors already secured by Allied integrationist forces. Ambassador Zixtal accompanies them, his bioluminescence dimmed to avoid detection. I never expected to commit treason, the ambassador admits quietly. You're preventing genocide, Midik replies. History will remember you as a hero of both our peoples. They reach the central command node, a crystalline structure housing the most sophisticated hegemony computing systems. Midik connects a human-designed interface device that begins bypassing security protocols at speeds the hegemony engineers never anticipated. The Babel protocol is initiating, he reports, watching as the alien systems yield to human ingenuity. Uploading now. Across the galaxy, on every hegemony world, communication system, and outpost, the unfiltered truth appears. Complete records of the hegemony's actions toward humanity, from the abduction of colonists to the planned destruction of Earth. No interpretation, no propaganda, just raw data, allowing every species to form their own conclusions. In the hegemony Grand Council chamber, chaos erupts as the evidence appears on every display. Elder Kun attempts to dismiss the revelations as human fabrications until her own voice plays back, clearly authorizing the genocide of an entire species. Ambassador Zixtal's voice echoes through the chamber, though he is light years away. The hegemony was founded on principles of mutual advancement and cooperation. Today, we choose whether those principles still stand. Admiral Chen watches from the Retribution's bridge as hegemony resistance crumbles across multiple fronts. Phase 1 complete, she announces to her crew. Now we discover whether this civilization is capable of redemption, or if more decisive action will be necessary. 1 year later, the newly formed Galactic Cooperative holds its inaugural session in a structure orbiting Earth, a symbolic location chosen to acknowledge humanity's new status. Admiral Chen, now Earth's security representative, walks the Great Hall with Ambassador Zixtal, who serves as transition coordinator. Your species still terrifies many of us, the ambassador admits as they watch delegates from 30 species engage in vibrant, sometimes heated debate, a chaotic process that would have been unthinkable under hegemony rule. Good, Chen replies with a slight smile. Fear can become respect with time. The cooperative thrives by integrating humanity's innovation with the stability of older civilizations. Human colony ships now travel freely, but with hegemony environmental specialists aboard to advise on sustainable development. Hegemony scientists study alongside human researchers, combining their methodical approach with humanity's creative leaps. The observation deck falls silent as sensors detect unknown vessels approaching from beyond charted space. A potential new species or perhaps something more threatening. The automated warnings begin to sound, But instead of triggering battle stations, the first broadcast now reflects the new protocol. Attention unknown vessels. This is the Galactic Cooperative Ship Unity. We welcome peaceful contact. Admiral Chen turns to her alien counterpart with determination in her eyes. And if peace isn't possible, she says, activating her tactical display revealing the human battle fleet positioned strategically throughout the sector. We'll be ready for that too. The ambassador, once horrified by human warfare, now nods in agreement. Some lessons are worth learning, even from Deathworlders. The habitat ring orbiting Earth gleams in the sunlight, its architecture blending design elements from all major member species of the newly established Galactic Cooperative. The central chamber, dubbed Harmony Hall by the human delegation, bustles with activity as representatives from 30 formerly hegemony worlds participate in what many would have considered impossible a year ago. Genuine collaborative governance. Admiral Chen, her dress uniform adorned with the new insignia of Earth Security Representative, observes the proceedings from a balcony overlooking the chamber. The scars on her face from the Battle of Terminus 9 have faded but remain visible, a reminder of how close humanity came to extinction. The Cloran delegation seems particularly agitated today. Notes Ambassador Zixtal, joining her at the railing. His translucent form pulses with colors indicating amusement. They're still struggling with the concept of voting. Democracy is messy, Chen acknowledges, but it beats the alternative. Indeed, Zixtal's colors shift to a more serious pattern. The transition has not been easy for many species. For millennia, the hegemony provided structure and certainty. This new arrangement, with its debates and compromises, feels chaotic to those accustomed to hierarchical order. Below them, a human representative engages in animated discussion with a towering Morgoth warrior about interspecies trade regulations. Neither backs down, yet neither reaches for weapons, progress, by any measure. Your species still terrifies many of us, Zixtal admits quietly. Not just your military prowess, but your capacity for change. Most species evolve toward stability. Humans constantly reinvent yourselves. Good, Chen replies with a slight smile. Fear can become respect with time. And perhaps that fear will keep us honest too. They make their way to the habitat's observation deck, where Dr. Mika waits with Colony Director Rodriguez. The colony ships from Terminus 9 have integrated back into human society, though many colonists chose to remain on their adopted world, now classified as Earth's most successful extraterrestrial settlement. The education exchange program is exceeding expectations, Mimbeek reports. 17 cooperative worlds have requested human instructors in applied sciences and adaptive engineering. And hegemony ecological specialists have improved our terraforming efficiency by 30%, adds Rodriguez. Turns out their methodical approach complements our improvisational style quite well. Chen studies the tactical display showing vessel movements throughout cooperative space. Human ships patrol alongside former hegemony vessels, sharing technologies and tactics that would have been unthinkable months ago. The Retribution, fully repaired and upgraded with hybrid human hegemony technology, serves as the flagship of the joint fleet. A sharp alert tone interrupts their conversation. The observation deck screens activate automatically as the sensor net detects anomalies at the edge of charted space. Multiple vessels approaching from the galactic rim, reports the monitoring officer. Configuration unknown. Not matching any cooperative registry. The assembled officials watch as the unidentified fleet approaches. Sleek, predatory vessels moving with purpose toward cooperative space. The automated warning system activates, but instead of the old hegemony threat assessment, a new message broadcasts. Attention unknown vessels. This is the Galactic Cooperative Ship Unity. We welcome peaceful contact. Minutes pass with no response. The unknown ships continue their approach, weapon systems visibly charging. Perhaps they don't understand our intentions, Nubik suggests. Chen accesses her secure command channel. With a few swift movements, she activates contingency protocols that have been in place since the cooperative's formation. Across the tactical display, previously hidden human defensive positions illuminate, a formidable fleet positioned strategically throughout the sector, ready to respond in moments. The diplomatic approach remains our first option, Chen states firmly. But if peace isn't possible, she lets the implication hang in the air as the tactical display shows the full extent of the combined fleet's capabilities. Ambassador Zixtal observes the human admiral's calm efficiency with newfound appreciation. Once, he had been horrified by humanity's warfare capacity. Now, standing beside former adversaries as potential new threats emerge from the unknown, he finds comfort in their readiness. Some lessons are worth learning, he acknowledges, even from Deathworlders. As the unknown vessels enter communication range, the assembled leaders of the Galactic Cooperative stand united. Different species with different evolutionary paths, but sharing a common future. Whatever emerges from the darkness beyond charted space will not find easy prey, but a coalition forged in conflict and strengthened by diversity. The warning that once meant fear now represents something more profound. Human warship approaching had become a promise of protection rather than a threat, for allies and adversaries alike.